A world where the impossible suddenly becomes reality, where the rules of transportation are rewritten before our very eyes, and where the heart of innovation doesn't come from the usual suspects like Silicon Valley or Germany or Japan, but from a place the world has too often underestimated: Africa. Today we dive into the jaw-dropping story of Africa's self-powered car as it takes on America in what can only be described as the race to win challenge, a showdown that has left car lovers, skeptics, engineers, and governments completely speechless. This isn't just about cars. This is about power, pride, future, and survival in a rapidly changing world. This is the kind of moment that people will look back on and say, this was the turning point. The story begins with whispers. A few years ago, if you had told anyone that a small African inventor could create a self-powered car, one that didn't need gas, didn't need charging, didn't even rely on the grid, they would have laughed. They would have shrugged it off as science fiction, as fantasy, as nothing more than hype. But then came the prototypes. Then came the tests. Then came the videos that spread like wildfire across the internet. People saw cars moving, not plugged in, not filling up at gas stations, not waiting hours at charging points, but moving endlessly as though powered by an invisible source of energy. And now, here we are. Africa's self-powered car, no longer a myth, is taking on America, a country that has built its very identity on highways, horsepower, and the spirit of the open road. This race isn't just about speed. It isn't even just about technology. It's about proving to the world that the future can be shaped from anywhere, and that the monopoly of innovation is officially broken. Imagine the scene: the wide open roads of the United States, stretching across deserts, mountains, and coastlines. On one side, the American automotive giants, Tesla, Ford, General Motors, companies with billions in research, armies of engineers, and decades of experience. On the other side, a sleek machine born from the heart of Africa, carrying with it not just the dreams of its inventor, but the pride of a continent that has waited far too long to be taken seriously as a hub of innovation. The race is set. Cameras are rolling. The world is watching. Millions tune in not just on television but on live streams, on TikTok clips, on YouTube countdowns. The hashtags trend globally: hashtag Africa versus America, hashtag race to win, hashtag self-powered revolution. For once, the narrative is flipped. It's not about Africa importing cars, or Africa struggling to keep up with the West. It's about Africa leading, with America chasing, skeptical, and maybe even nervous. The car itself looks deceptively simple. No roaring exhaust. No electric humming like you hear from a Tesla. Instead, it glides almost silently, a whisper against the wind. Engineers who have inspected it are baffled. Where does the power come from? They ask. Is it solar? Is it hydrogen? Is it some hidden battery? But the inventor just smiles. He knows what he has built. He knows what the car can do. And as the flag goes down, as the race begins, jaws drop. The American cars launch forward with raw power, engines roaring, tires screeching, electric motors pushing to their limits. But then comes the African car, smooth, steady, and unstoppable. While the others burn fuel, while the Teslas count down their range and calculate their next charging station, the African car doesn't stop. It doesn't slow. It doesn't need to refuel. Mile after mile, it moves like a ghost, like a force of nature. Commentators can hardly believe it. Audiences erupt. Memes are created in real time. Africa just lapped Tesla. One viral tweet says. Detroit can't keep up. Another headline screams. And slowly, the world realizes this isn't just a race on a road. This is a race of eras. This is the 20th century clashing with the 21st. This is fossil fuels, lithium batteries, and billion-dollar charging networks going head-to-head with an invention that defies everything we thought we knew about energy. The Americans try everything. They push their cars to the limit. They unleash prototypes that were never meant to be seen by the public. But nothing works. They have to stop. They have to recharge. They have to refuel. And every time they do, the African car keeps going. Reporters chase the inventor. Governments make phone calls. Investors scramble. Stock markets react. Oil prices dip in real time. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, one truth becomes undeniable. Africa's self-powered car is real, it works, and it has just humbled America on its own roads. And yet, this is just the beginning. Because once the race is over, once the cameras stop rolling, the real challenge begins. Who controls this technology? Who gets access? Who tries to stop it? Already, the whispers of conspiracy are starting. Big oil will never allow this to go mainstream, say some. Battery companies are terrified, say others. Governments will classify this as a national security threat, warn the cautious. But for ordinary people watching, none of that matters. For them, this car is hope. It's freedom from gas stations. It's freedom from endless bills. It's proof that innovation doesn't always come from billion-dollar labs, but sometimes from a small garage, from a dreamer who refuses to give up. The American media doesn't know how to spin it. Some call it a hoax. Some say it's exaggerated. Some quietly admit that America just lost the biggest race of the century. But people have seen it with their own eyes, and you can't unsee it. Kids in classrooms talk about it. Engineers in universities debate it. Families around dinner tables wonder if the age of gas and electricity is over. And in Africa, celebrations erupt. For once, the headlines are not about poverty or crisis or corruption, but about leading the world into a new future. But here's the thing. This race is more than just a spectacle. It is a warning shot. It is a message to the world: adapt or be left behind.
The Americans know it. The Europeans know it. Asia knows it.
And Africa, for the first time in history, isn't just catching up. It's setting the pace as the dust settles on the first leg of the race. Disbelief turns into obsession. The African car hasn't just won. It has demolished every expectation. It didn't pause, it didn't falter, it didn't beg for a recharge or a refuel. Instead, it carved its name into history, cruising past every finish line America put in its way. But this is more than just an upset on the track. It's a ripple effect that shakes the very foundation of the global auto industry. In Detroit, boardrooms fall silent. Executives stare at live feeds and realize that the game has changed. They had been preparing for a battle against each other. Tesla versus Ford, GM versus Rivian. But they never prepared for this. An invention from Africa, unbacked by Wall Street, unshielded by billion-dollar marketing campaigns, has just leapfrogged everything. And the world isn't going to unsee it. Journalists race to uncover every detail. Who is the inventor? How does the technology work? Is it safe?
Is it scalable? The inventor remains calm, almost unbothered by the chaos.
For him, this was never just about winning a race. It was about proving a point, that energy should not be controlled by the few, that transportation should not be chained to fuel pumps or charging cords, that true freedom means movement without limits. Meanwhile, across America, the reactions are mixed. In Silicon Valley, some engineers are fascinated. They want to collaborate, to understand, to help scale the technology. In Washington, however, the mood is different. Lawmakers panic. Committees are formed. Questions are asked behind closed doors. What happens to our oil industry? What happens to our electric vehicle plans? What happens to national security if this technology isn't in our hands? Some whisper that this could spark a new kind of energy war, one not fought with tanks and missiles, but with patents, trade deals, and sabotage. But none of that matters to the ordinary people who are watching the replay clips online. A family in Texas sees the car gliding endlessly across highways and thinks about the thousands they spend on gas each year. A student in New York City wonders if this invention will save the planet from the weight of pollution. A farmer in Kansas imagines tractors that never need refueling. The possibilities are endless, and the excitement is contagious. Back in Africa, celebrations are unlike anything the world has seen. Crowds gather in cities, cheering as though their national team has just won the World Cup. For once, the headlines aren't about poverty, conflict, or aid. They are about innovation, about leadership, about pride. Children chant the name of the car's inventor in the streets. Entrepreneurs begin sketching business models. Governments who had ignored their inventors suddenly scramble to claim credit. And through it all, the car keeps moving, an unstoppable symbol of a new era. But America is not a land that gives up easily. Behind the scenes, engineers and corporations are already working overtime. They study the footage. They analyze the speed, the sound, the performance. They try to guess what makes the African car tick. Some suggest it uses magnetic energy. Others whisper about zero-point fields, about technology that mainstream science has dismissed as fantasy. The more they guess, the more the mystery grows. The second stage of the race is announced, and this time, America is ready. They bring their strongest, fastest, most advanced prototypes. Hypercars built with cutting-edge materials, electric vehicles with extended ranges, hydrogen-powered beasts that cost millions. The crowd gathers again, but this time, there is tension in the air. The world knows what the African car can do. The question is, can America fight back? The race begins, and once again, the roar of engines fills the air. American cars surge forward, their sheer speed breathtaking, their designs futuristic. But the African car does not panic. It glides smoothly, unhurried, as if it knows something the others don't. And sure enough, as the miles stretch on, the truth reappears. America's finest must pause to recharge, to refuel, to rest. The African car? It keeps going. It refuses to obey the rules that have bound every car in history. The crowd gasps. Commentators can hardly find words. And on social media, the verdict is clear: it wasn't a fluke. Africa's car is the real deal. Hashtag surge again, hashtag unstoppable, hashtag no fuel no limits, hashtag Africa won again. Memes flood the internet. Someone posts a photo of an American gas station with the caption, "Remember these?" Another shows a Tesla parked at a charging station with the words, "Waiting while Africa drives by." But while the public laughs and cheers, behind the curtain, the pressure is mounting. Oil executives are furious. Battery companies see their future evaporating. Politicians demand answers. How did we let this happen? They ask. How did we fall behind? Yet the truth is simple. Sometimes innovation doesn't follow money. Sometimes it follows vision. And in this case, vision came from Africa. By the third stage of the race, it becomes clear this is no longer about America winning. It's about America surviving. Every test, every challenge, every attempt to trip up the African car ends the same way. The car glides through storms. It cuts across deserts. It climbs mountains. It never slows, never stalls, never begs for more energy. And slowly, the crowd begins to realize what they are really watching. This is not a race between cars. This is a race between the past and the future. By now, rumors swirl that other countries want in. China wants to test the car. Germany wants to challenge it. Japan wants to study it. Suddenly, this small invention has become the centerpiece of global attention, and Africa sits in the driver's seat. For decades, the continent was dismissed, sidelined, underestimated. Now, it holds a key to the future, and the world has no choice but to pay attention. And as the African car crosses yet another finish line, unstoppable and unchallenged, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just about technology. It's about destiny. It's about rewriting the global story. It's about proving that innovation can come from anywhere, and that sometimes, the greatest revolutions begin where no one was looking. The world is buzzing, but America refuses to surrender. After the second stage, government officials hold emergency meetings. Reports flood the desks of senators, CEOs, and intelligence officers. Every word screams the same thing: this car cannot be ignored. Some call it the biggest disruption since the invention of the internet. Others whisper that it could collapse entire economies if it goes mainstream. The oil industry alone is worth trillions. The electric vehicle revolution, still in its infancy, already has billions invested in charging stations, mining operations, and gigafactories. And yet, one car, born far away from all of that, has the potential to render it obsolete overnight. But the inventor, calm as ever, doesn't seem to care about politics. When asked by a reporter how it feels to beat America at its own game, his answer is simple: it's not about beating anyone. It's about freeing everyone. Those words explode across the internet, shared millions of times. To the people, he's not just an inventor, he's a symbol. To the industries, he's a threat. Meanwhile, preparations for the third stage are underway. This isn't just a race across highways anymore. This is endurance. A coast-to-coast test, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Thousands of miles of road, heat, cold, rain, and dust. American cars line up once again, this time equipped with mobile charging trucks, backup fuel carriers, and every trick in the book. If the African car is going to win again, It's going to have to prove itself across the vastness of an entire nation. The crowd is bigger than ever. Cameras line every mile. Drones hover overhead. The world is glued to screens, waiting to see history unfold. And then, the signal is given.
Engines roar to life.
The race is on. From the very start, the difference is clear. American cars sprint with blazing speed, determined to create a gap. The African car, however, glides steadily, almost patiently. Commentators debate furiously. Why doesn't it push harder? Why isn't it accelerating? But those who've been paying attention know the truth. This car doesn't play by the same rules. Hours pass, and the gap seems wide.
American fanché.
Perhaps this time, their cars will finally hold the lead. But then the inevitable happens. One by one, the American vehicles need to stop. Fuel gauges dip. Battery ranges hit zero. Charging stations become choke points. And as night falls, across the endless American highways, a silhouette appears in the darkness. Smooth, silent, unstoppable. The African car. It passes them all. Not once, not twice, but again and again. While others are tethered to pumps and plugs, it floats past like a ghost of the future. The crowds erupt. Commentators lose their voices. Social media explodes. The car that never stops, the headlines say. And by dawn, when the dust settles and the Pacific Ocean glimmers in the distance, there is only one car crossing the finish line without a scratch, without a pause, the self-powered car from Africa. The reaction is seismic. Investors panic. Oil stocks plummet overnight. Shares in major EV companies take a hit. Meanwhile, startups around the world scramble to find connections to the African inventor. Phone calls pour in. Offers are made. Some are outrageous. Billions for the patents, promises of factories, partnerships, even political asylum. But still, the inventor remains calm. He refuses to sell out. This technology belongs to humanity, he tells a packed press conference. Not just to one nation or one corporation.
The world spark a fire.
Across Africa, leaders seize the moment, announcing initiatives to build their own automotive industries. We will not export this innovation for others to profit, one minister declares. We will lead. For the first time in history, the automotive future may not be dictated from Detroit, Tokyo, or Stuttgart, but from Africa. In America, however, the response is far from celebratory. Talk shows buzz with heated debates. Some accuse the inventor of hiding secrets. Others demand government intervention. One senator even declares on live television, if we don't control this technology, we risk losing not just our industry, but our security. The word ban starts circulating. Conspiracy theories flood the internet. Claims that the car runs on hidden nuclear material, that it's backed by shadowy organizations, that it's all part of some elaborate hoax. But none of it sticks, because the car is there in plain sight, doing what no other car has ever done. Stage 4 of the challenge is announced, and this time, it's not just America watching, it's the entire planet. The route is brutal, a multi-terrain gauntlet through deserts, mountains, snow, and mud. Experts call it the ultimate test, something no vehicle, gas, electric, or otherwise, has ever completed without major breakdowns. American automakers throw everything they have at it, unveiling machines that look like something out of a sci-fi movie. Massive tires, reinforced bodies, turbocharged engines. If the African car wins here, it won't just be a victory. It will be a revolution. The race begins, and immediately the terrain shows no mercy. American cars struggle, engines overheating in the desert sun, batteries draining faster than expected in the freezing mountains. Mud swallows tires. Snow blinds sensors. But the African car? It glides on, indifferent to the obstacles. Hills, rivers, sandstorms. It faces them all with the same effortless grace. Spectators are stunned. Commentators fall silent. It's as though the car isn't just running on a different energy, it's running on a different philosophy altogether. Halfway through the stage, one American supercar breaks down spectacularly, smoke billowing into the sky. The crowd gasps. The African car passes by without hesitation, not mocking, not gloating, simply moving forward. And in that moment, people begin to understand, the race isn't about speed. It's about resilience. It's about freedom from the chains of fuel, the chains of infrastructure, the chains of limitation. By the end of the stage, the result is no surprise. The African car crosses the finish line, flawless as ever. Reporters swarm. Fans cheer. And somewhere deep inside America's automotive heartland, a realization dawns. This is not a competitor they can simply outspend or outbuild. This is a paradigm shift, and they are on the wrong side of it.